Hi guys, welcome back to Random Reviews. Today I have a new set of low beam LEDs from Lasfit. They are the LSPlus series, which is their top end LEDs that you can get. I'm going to show you what's inside the box, briefly how to install, talk a little bit about the performance, compare them with the stock bulbs, as well as sharing some maintenance tips that I have been doing. And as always, the link to these LEDs is in the description. So inside the box, there are some Lasfit stickers, manual, the Allen key to adjust the beam pattern. I've never had to adjust that, but if it's needed, it's here. And the bulbs themselves, I just installed the other one on the driver's side earlier, so that's why there's only one in here. I do like the plastic tube cover here, by the way, keeps everything clean. And on the back, there's some information, 72 watts for both of these bulbs. Equivalent to about 8,000 true or measured lumens. Yes, I reached out to the company to confirm that they have tested their lumens. So don't let the smaller amount fool you. I don't want to spoil it yet, but these bulbs are bright. The reason I brought that up because certain manufacturers, they tend to rate their LEDs much brighter than the actual true lumens are. So when it says 18,000 or 20,000 lumens, such and such, yeah, I'm skeptical. And even though if that was true, the bulb will probably not survive from the heating issue. But read the feedback reviews, they will tell you a lot. And I'll just leave it here. And then 6,000 Kelvin, so they produce some fairly white light. Let's compare this to another LED bulb. The top one is the dual LED, also from Lasfit, which I reviewed several years ago. And the bottom one is the LSPlus series. Once again, the LSPlus series is Lasfit highest end and most expensive LEDs. Side by side, we can clearly see that the LSPlus is significantly shorter and the driver is also smaller too. Not to mention that the driver is cooler too in terms of heat. But if we look at the base of the bulb, the fan area to be exact, it is much bigger now. I don't know if it's a new standard now or if it's just me, but the fan is huge. That means it's going to help lowering the amount of heat from the LEDs. And the construction from here looks like they were really taking their time to perfect this bulb. I don't see any misshape or sloppiness to it, so just want to bring that up. Okay, let's finish installing this to the passenger side. First of all, the bulb can only go in one way because of these three tabs are in different sizes, so make sure to line that up accordingly. I removed my other LEDs and installed the stock bulbs back just now. So for reference, if you are running stocks, you'll see exactly what the procedures are. So disconnect the power from the bulb and counterclockwise to remove, and in goes the new LED. The wire from the LED should give you a hint that when the bulb is correctly locked in place, the wire should face somewhat downward. That way you don't have to guess like what I'm doing now. Then reconnect the power cable, test the light. If it doesn't work, just flip the connection. And for the driver, the black thing here, I just let it hang out on the metal part here. It doesn't bother anybody. And what do you do with your old bulbs? Me, I just keep them in a closed box and put them in my trunk just in case. Alright, let's have a quick outside look and then I'll show you a bunch of comparisons and talk a little bit about my impression. Okay, so the first thing I notice is how wide they are compared to the stock ones, and you'll see that shortly. The cutout is pretty obvious. They are bright, but they don't blind oncoming drivers. I haven't had anybody flashed at me yet. This is my third and a half going fourth week now for using these lights. And here's what the front looks like. By the way, see my front LED fog lights and turn signals, aka switchback turn signals. If you haven't upgraded them yet, I highly recommend doing it. It is super easy. I will include the link on here now. It should pop up on the screen here somewhere, and it will be in the description as well, so check that out. So based on hundreds of comments from my previous videos, I know that some of you actually bought the same exact lights from the same website that I got them from. So that's why I don't just open the box, install them, and tell you how bright they are on the spot. Everything that I review, I give them a good run, 2 to 3 weeks or more, and then come back with the results. So let's compare them. These are the stock bulbs. I didn't get to film much with them, but hopefully a few of these clips will give you a solid idea. And these are the LEDs, the same area, different lighting conditions. And then back to stocks. This is in the neighborhood, not so much lighting going on here. And these are the LEDs, the same area, similar conditions kind of. The LEDs are a lot more pronounced, and pay attention to the width also. For some of us driving in the urban areas or in the city, how wide the beams are probably not so important, but I live closer to the countryside and drive in the back roads more often than not. And like I said earlier, I noticed right away, especially on the zigzag switchback roads where I don't have a clear view of the turns. So the wider, the better in that case. Okay, so from here it is just LEDs and highway, and we will use other cars on the road to compare. So this is right after sunset, not completely dark yet, and I have a CR-V to my right running stocks, looks like. Driving in town earlier, I thought they were bright already, but now when we compare them side by side, these looks even brighter. And part of that, I think, not only because they shine further, but because they're much wider as well. And that makes a huge difference from my perspective. And this is on a darker road, shooting from my GoPro. I turned the auto brightness off on the GoPro, so it's a bit dimmer. So what's the downside? Honestly, the only two things I could think of. First one is the price. These go for a little over $100, more or less with coupon. And yes, check the description too in case there's any special. But for spending that much, you know, you're not only getting quality products and performance, but also customer service. And again, I said this based on years of reviewing Lasfit products. If anything goes wrong, reach out to them, they will take care of you. Second downside, this is maybe just me because I haven't heard anybody doing it, speaking of it yet, but it's not required, but I always like to keep the fan area clean. Sometimes there's a bug or pieces of leaves that stuck inside here, preventing the fan from spinning. So what I normally do is I use the air compressor to blow them. But not everybody has one. In that case, a straw and a couple of exhales would do. And look at it as a maintenance. And I normally do this maybe twice a month. And you know, that'll give me a chance to check my fluids and things like that as well. Well, I hope I've given you enough information about these LEDs. Anything else I forgot to bring up, let me know in the comment section. See you in the next video. Drive safe.